basically the last two P's that are getting covered. काफी straightforward segments है. We'll be going through each of these using examples. Some examples which Bhupesh has already given, some that is what we can discuss and share as thoughts. Because again, most of his quizzes have been in a way where if we understand the core concept, whatever example he gives, we'll have to identify what strategy it comes under. So to start with, what is promotion? So that's the communication part of the mix of the entire marketing mix. And if all of us know what the IDA model is, this definition also flows in that way with the IDA model. So the main part is to create an awareness about what the customer's need is. So उसमें IDA का A cover हो जाता है. Then how do we grab their attention and provide information about the product that builds some kind of interest, and ultimately the goal is to motivate a particular purchase. So it is about from awareness to purchase decision is where your entire promotion aspect comes in. And because there are multiple aspects to this, there's something known as integrated marketing communication that comes in to play. That is, all 5 to 6 steps that we take into account and multiple strategies that we take into account to ensure that the message is delivered consistently throughout it. So that's what, again, he's not going to ask any definition, but agar integrated marketing communication kya hai, if you have to understand, it is the process of creating customers, keeping them, and developing them into your brand ambassadors. That's the essential thought that's there. And it's again, there is a proper chronological thought process that goes into it. And he's put it under the 6 M's. First, I'll explain it, or I'll explain layman terms, and then we can understand how each of these 6 M's work. And it's very similar to the processes that we have learned throughout this course. Pehle, the first part is when you're promoting something, who do you want to, who are the people that you want to communicate it to? So first is identifying that market. So हम लोग जब STP भी कर रहे हैं, उस STP में से who do we want to essentially target with this communication? The next part is what is the objective? Is the objective, so when we go to the next part, is it to build awareness or is it to directly induce sales? So what is the main objective is something that we need to figure out. Once we are done with both these parts, these two come under the objective part of the promotion mix. The next segment that is there is tactics. So in the tactics, again, what is the message that we want to, or what are the specific points that we'd like to communicate here? And how do we communicate? From which channel? Is it via social media? Is it via billboards? Is it via guerrilla advertising? Is it via flyers or pamphlets? That comes in your media mix. The next part is how much or what is the budget that's going to be there. तो हमने ये भी figure out कर लिया कि कहाँ पे advertise करना है, but कितना, each segment will have a different kind of costing involved. So how much do we have as an overall budget? And after all of these are done, the last part is how do we measure the impact? Usually marketing managers are asked this कि ठीक है हमने ये awareness campaign किया, so how do we understand how well that campaign has gone? So that's again a callback कि ठीक है हमने X rupees spend किया है, उसका Y ROI हुआ है. So that's the 6-step process that he's explained to us. And again, if we have to put it in short or put it in one words, the first one is which is the market that we need to communicate it to, what is the mission or the goal of that communication, what is the exact message, in what form are we going to do it, which is your media, how much money are we putting in there, and what is the exact measurement, or how are we planning to understand the impact that this particular message has delivered. Also, guys, if you have questions, you can ask then and there. But don't wait till the end. Or if you want me to explain something else once again, please feel free to unmute and explain. Unmute and ask. So these 6 steps, you guys have understood. Okay, what are the 6 steps and what is the chronology in which the integrated marketing communication happens, the plan? Okay, perfect. Also, guys, you will have to unmute and say because my screen present ho raha hai, so I won't be able to see if there are any reactions.
Yes, Deep bhai.
Cool. So under promotions, when we said we came to the second part, which was the mission or the objective, right? So overall in promotions, there are two main objectives or two main headers that happen. First is either you're creating awareness. The second is either you're trying to directly induce purchase. So while even awareness ka end goal at the end of say 6 months or 1 year is that usse koi purchases ho, these are kept separate or the objectives are kept separate because हम लोग जैसे अवेयरनेस में जो टैक्टिक्स होते हैं which we'll see in the upcoming slides is quite different from how do we directly induce a particular purchase. So under creating awareness is usually what kind of ad campaigns we're talking about or what kind of ad formats that we are talking about. All of that comes under creating awareness. Under inducing purchase, there are two parts again. One is sales promotion, that is, with your retailers, with your vendors, and the other one is consumer promotion, which is how do you directly incentivize consumers to buy a particular product or service. We'll dwell deeper into each of these in the upcoming slides. But yeah, if there's any question, first analyze कि इस केस में अपने को awareness create करने का is the goal or is it direct inducing purchase, which do we have to pick, and under that then we go to which particular strategy we are using. So moving on to the creating awareness part. So in this, there are 6 to 7 strategies that he's explained and he's shown us ads in class as well. The first part is guerrilla advertising. So what is guerrilla advertising is using any kind of unconventional tactic to kind of create delight or attract customers with that particular advertising. So for example, if we see on the right, if you see this kind of a balloon in a marketplace, this will kind of spark a little bit of curiosity. Okay, what is this, or what brand is doing this, and then you dwell a little deeper to understand what they're trying to communicate. So the examples that Bhupesh sir had given was one is the tea brand where they sent tea that is to Donald Trump, and that grabbed a lot of eyeballs. Or जैसे KitKat benches को red में paint करता है. So again, this sparks a little bit of curiosity. Usually, also these kind of advertising techniques have limited budgets. So how do we go with unconventional strategies to grab eyeballs with a limited budget? So that's what your typical guerrilla advertising is. For example, you would also see that there's a flash mob that's happening in a particular mall, and then probably it's some kind of fashion brand that's doing it. So that's also a particular kind of guerrilla advertising that's there. So that's the first kind. The second kind is social advertising. So usually in social advertising, your brand does not have a brand is communicating any social issue that is kind of associated with what the consumers that they are serving, but they do not directly put in their logos or they do not directly say that it is say from Lifebuoy. For example, the example that he shown in class was how do you help a child reach 5, and the entire ad was about how just by washing your hands and just by staying clean, people are able to you know have or extend their life to that extent that they're able to reach the age of 5. And in the end, they subtly communicate that this is an initiative done by Lifebuoy. So they're trying to use emotion and emotional connection to tie in with meaningful causes and then tie back to the particular brand. So this year, even what happened in Rishikesh for, a lot of these Amazon had their beds installed with their cardboard packaging. So a lot of this comes under social advertising where directly they will not, put that brand out there, but communicate a particular social cause and then tie it back to their brand in a very, very, very subtle way. And in most cases, not even have their logo put into that particular ad symbol. So this is the second type of advertising that happens when it comes to brand awareness. The third one is surrogate advertising. A lot of us have already heard about this. So there are certain products such as cigarettes and alcohol. Even condoms cannot directly be advertised, or sex toys, not condoms, but sex toys cannot be directly advertised. So people use surrogate advertising here to kind of communicate what their products are. So the examples that Sir had shown is Imperial Blue Come In will be men where they talk about music CDs, and there's an entire campaign that happens on that. One additional keynote when it comes to surrogate advertising is at least 1% of the company's entire revenue should come in from that particular product. Again, this is additional information that I'm sharing. He won't be asking that in the exam, but yeah, how do you use a differentiated product to kind of drive awareness for your core product, which is not allowed to directly advertise? Usually, cigarettes, alcohol, and sex toys are, some examples that are there. The other one is user generated content. So it's where users directly talk about that particular brand. The example that sir had shown or spoken about is Uber stories, where someone had tweeted about their experience with Uber, and then Uber did an entire ad film on that, where Uber share can give you new moments, leveraging customer experiences. Usually, we see a lot of UGC happening on social media, where a lot of brands, and today brands are trying to push for that particular type of advertising rather than paid advertising, because that's organic. It's people, it's like word of mouth that's happening digitally, or word of mouth that's happening on an online sphere. So it's again a very important part of marketing today. Brands are trying really hard to think how can users talk about them. If you even see sometimes Coca-Cola changes their packaging and it's something really interesting, people will take a photo of that, put it on social media, tag the brand. So all of that comes under user-generated content. Moving on to the next one. This is comparative advertising. So comparative advertising is where you see, say, Apple versus BlackBerry, where Apple is directly targeting BlackBerry in that particular ad film. More common examples are you'll see a lot of McD versus Burger King billboards that are there. You recently there was Dove versus Sebamed, where they will not directly take that brand's name, but in some shape or form or using colors, they'll try to communicate how their product X is more superior to product Y. Usually happens using billboards, using ad films, a lot of BMW versus Audi, as again examples that have happened, is directly targeting that brand and claiming how your brand is superior to this. This is part of comparative advertising. Next is ambush advertising. It's a little
Deep
similar
bhai,
to comparative advertising. The only difference that comes in here is when it comes to ambush advertising, there is a particular brand which has paid, say, millions to become an official sponsor for either a sport or for a particular dance event, and brand Y or the competitor brand, without becoming the official sponsor, kind of taps onto that event in an indirect way. So, for example, the sample that Sir had shown was Pepsi is nothing official about it, where Coke was the official sponsor for Olympics, and then Pepsi said that there's nothing official about it, and people are talking about Pepsi's ad campaign more than Coca-Cola. What has more commonly also happened is when you see Super Bowl ads. There was this one Super Bowl ad where, Volkswagen kind of, uh, Volkswagen, and I think if I'm not wrong, it was Volvo. And then, it said that you tweet every time Volvo's ad is coming in. So people are actually on Twitter talking about brand Y rather than concentrating on the message that brand X is trying to communicate here. So they're two different things. Comparative advertising is where they're doing it directly. There's no official sponsorship that we're talking about. But ambush advertising usually happens when one is an official sponsor and the other brand is tapping into its, brand voice and, the share of voice, I would say. That.
दीप भाई,
Uh,
एड डाउट. मैं कह रहा था कि जो आजकल brands like Blinkit and Tinder, they put up billboards next to each other. So वो किस category में आएगा? Because they are actually utilizing each other's मतलब billboards. So that's not neither ambush nor comparative. So
So
can we
this
place it
is more
somewhere?
trend based जो आजकल होता है, where it's kind of trying, that's more on viral based marketing. I would say it doesn't come under any one of these particularly. So क्या करते हैं, one brand will start with a very quirky line, and the other brand taps onto that, and then there's a snowball effect that happens from that. So even in agencies we do that quite often, that अगर एक brand का काफी viral हो रहा है, immediately another brand taps onto it, gets a particular billboard, therein it tries to again uh, piggyback on that brand's awareness. So it doesn't come under comparative or ambush. It's more of a viral based, marketing that they or viral based advertising that they're trying to
Is it
push.
that concept Joe Bhupesh was telling us where the number two brand tries to associate itself with the number one brand?
It see sometimes it's not. Sometimes a lot of these ads are also not from the same industry. For example, Shadi.com will also play onto this particular billboard ka trend where it's Blinkit, Zepto, and then Shadi.com. So it's not necessary that it's from the same industry, uh, and it's not necessary that it's the brand one, and it's only brand one and brand two, or number one and number two who are kind of uh, piggybacking on each other. So
Got
it's
it.
not necessary. It's more of a viral concept that all of them are trying to play on.
Got it. Got it. ठीक है.
Moving on to the next one. So there is subliminal advertising. So here, what happens is we're using hidden sounds or imagery to kind of influence buying decision. So the example that Sir had given was in Baskin Robbins logo. We see, the B and R. The 31 is written. That's kind of indicating that we have 31 flavors. Another way, or today, what a lot of brands also do is, you have your uh, voices just using अगर कोक हम लोग खोल रहे तो उसका जैसे साउंड आ रहा है फ्रॉम दैट यू गेट अ रिकलेक्शन ऑफ कोको कोला यूजुअली so it's using sounds, it's using lights, it's using colors that people are trying to associate the brand with. For example, last year what Coca-Cola had also done is there was a bundle in Mumbai, and the entry to the bundle was in the shape of a Coca-Cola glass bottle. So that's also, and then they took a photo of that, and then they had printed that across in multiple places. It was on social media. Again, they're trying to use hidden imagery or a format or an outline to kind of influence buying decision. That it just helps build brand recall. So ASMR, a lot of brands are doing ASMR today. ASMR comes directly under subliminal advertising. The next one is covert advertising. Covert advertising is essentially product placements in movies. Today we see a lot of it in OTTs. So again, the example that Sir had shown is Friends. May they said if Starbucks came in and multiple brands were shown. Agar anyone who's seeing any series on Apple TV or any series that's coming or any movie that's coming that's produced by Apple TV, you will see that they only use Apple devices throughout the entire movie or the series. So that's again a way of driving brand recall constantly via that movie, via that OTT, or via that film. So it usually happens in a digital medium. It is using non-advertising formats to kind of just build that subtle brand recall. पहले के movies में भी बहुत होता था where you have brands actually sponsoring that and paying millions of monies to just show their particular product in that movie. हिंदी movies में भी काफी होता था. The last one or in this slide is captive advertising. So captive advertising is where you're kind of forced to watch that particular ad or forced to watch that particular promotion because you don't have a freedom to move out of that place or freedom to ignore or modify it. So the example that he had given is where Boat had done a collaboration with Netflix in a metro act, where in a confined metro space, when you're traveling, you will have to hear that particular ad. You can't just exit and ignore, or you can't just skip that ad. So what's also part of captive advertising? Two or three other examples. One example that he had shown in class is in certain urinals in movies. When you go for movies, urinals ke upar in men's washroom, there's a TV screen that's there, and there are a lot of ads that are being shown there. So when you are using the loo, you have no other option but to see what's being shown there. Or when you're in Ola, some of the Ola cabs also have a TV screen right, in front of the passenger seat. So there are multiple ads being shown there. Again, you're kept captive. You're literally kept captive there, and you need to see or you need to watch the entire ad. So these are few examples when it comes to captive advertising. Uh,
The
yeah.
that one where in airplane we are also uh, we look at the instructions as well as the advertisement of that brand that also comes in captive.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Also, guys, it's not necessary that each or one particular type of ad can come under only one bucket. There will be certain overlaps that we see that, a particular ad could be, subliminal at the same time of captive advertising. For example, imagine seeing or hearing an ASMR in your flight. That's a mix of subliminal advertising and captive advertising. So, in the exam also, you can fuse and give a combination of two advertising techniques to, kind of define or justify your answer. If we also when we go further, we'll see that there's something known as transit ads. So captive advertising and transit advertising would be quite similar. Where transit ads are when you're in a particular vehicle or when you're moving from point A to point B, you're shown an ad. And again, usually you can't escape that ad as well. So that's a mix of captive advertising as well as transit advertising. Moving on to the next one, this is fear-based advertising. So this is using very strong imagery, very strong ads to kind of induce fear and say that don't do a certain thing or do a certain thing. For example, a lot of hospitals use fear-based advertising, although it's not recommended to do that. Where they say that if you're coughing constantly, visit a doctor. And like वो imagery देख के you will feel a certain thing, or again they are trying to evoke a certain emotion in you to take a particular action. The example that Sir had given is smoking kill campaigns. We see it on the box, we see it before movies, using this kind of extremely hard graphics that kind of make you think twice about even smoking in this case. So a lot of brands use fear-based advertising. Usually, it's the healthcare space that kind of does it. Not the ideal way, but yeah, it's usually that industry that uses fear-based advertising to make you take a particular decision. Even if you see today,
Sorry, I had
sorry,
a question.
yeah.
इसमें so for this example जो smoking kills वाला है तो जैसे सिगरेट के डब्बे पे वो पिक्चर होता है ना वो लंग्स वाला so can that also be classified under captive advertising because अगर सिगरेट का डब्बा खोलोगे वो तो देखोगे ही ना you don't have an option.
बट तुम सिगरेट के डब्बे को फेंक भी सकते हो. Like, as in, you're not held
Okay.
captive to see it for that entire 15-20 seconds, right? Or if you don't want to see it, you can even keep it in your pocket. But in a captive advertising, you have no other option but to live through it. For example, YouTube में भी जो non-skippable ads होते हैं, वो 5 सेकंड आपको देखना ही है. There's no option or there's no other way to skip it. Even if you mute, the only way is you mute and you change your tab. That's the only way you will skip it.
Understood.
So I don't think I would classify it there. Another example of fear-based advertising is जो ये एस्ट्रो टॉक और सब करता है कि आपको गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं मिल रही है, आपकी शादी नहीं हो रही है, आपको पैसे नहीं मिल रहे हैं, तो you should kind of talk to sign up on our page and talk to one of the numerologists. Number change कर दो, नाम change कर दो. All that also comes under fear-based advertising. कि ये नहीं करोगे. Earlier Facebook पे ये भी होता था कि share this post with 15 others or else you will score bad in your exams. और फिर साईं बाबा का फोटो होता था. Stuff like that. So those are also examples of fear-based advertising. So these were the type of advertising that happen when it comes to brand awareness. इसमें there are again when we branch it out further, from there we go to what are the mediums that these kind of advertising can happen on. There are two major headers here. There is above the line marketing and below the line marketing. Above the line marketing is synonymous to mass market or mass communication. कि वो एक ही communication से मैं how do I reach the maximum number of people? What medium do I use for that? And when it comes to below the line marketing, it is targeting a specific segment, a specific audience, and it's usually on a digital channel. The numbers or the impact is a lot more. I won't say impact is different in both, but above the line marketing, the reach is higher. Below the line marketing, the reach will be lower, but so your impact would be a lot more because it's a little bit more personalized. So going into above the line marketing, there are four aspects or four mediums here. One is TV, radio, print advertising, and outdoor media. All four of these are the major buckets on which you can in a single click kind of reach millions of audience. When it comes to below the line marketing, it's mostly on digital mediums like I mentioned. So It's social media marketing, SEO, search engine marketing, content, email, cold calling. Under below the line marketing, one more thing that can also come is when in a smaller, say, in a closed loop or in an internal magazine, if you're putting something out, that will also come under below the line marketing because you're targeting only a specific user base that's there. So again, like I said, mediums also can to an extent overlap, but majorly there are two aspects: above the line, below the line. Above the line is mass. You can just think mass market. Below the line is more targeted, segmented market that you're communicating with, and below the line marketing would be usually on a digital aspect. Any doubts till here?
दीप भाई एक TTL जो थ्रू द लाइन था, we'll be discussing that.
Yes. So through the line is it's I would say it's a mix of both of these, where you're trying to combine both of these and advertise your particular message. So I'll cover that in the next part.
Got it. ठीक है.
So when we say the online media aspect, there are three parts to this. One is earned media, next is owned media, and then paid media. A lot of us have also learned this in our digital marketing classes. So when we say earned media, this is using third-party content and channels that are not as such owned by us, but we have done a particular campaign, we have done a certain communication, and then that's been picked up, and we are earning a lot from that particular social platform. So this includes, your promotional coverage from journalists, your influencers also come under earned earned media here. So it's usually what is being covered by both of these channels. When we say own media, these are assets that we own, we control, and we basically control the narrative there. So this could be, say, our particular app, our website, and wherever anyone is interacting and where we are controlling the narrative. So it could be the blogs that we put out, it could be the SEO that we are kind of promoting, or the amount of content that we are putting out on our website that pushes our content. So it is landing these people on our channels. Paid media is all kind of paid promotions. This would be your online ads, it could be display ads, Google, Meta, YouTube, search. All of this come under paid media. PR publicity is a separate part that comes in, which is why it's not put under the online media landscape in this particular case. So again, just to recap, earned media would be where the content or the channels is not owned by us. It could be on a social media platform. It could be on a, say, even on an Economic Times online page. Owned media is where the channel is owned by us. We control the narrative. We control what is being put out. Paid media is all kind of activities which is for which we are paying out. That would be your pop-ups, search results, on Meta, Google, YouTube, etc. Influencers will, while we are paying them, it is projected as an earned media aspect, both them and journalists. When it comes to so that was from the online aspect. When we go to the traditional aspect, there is broadcast media. Again, here there is a lot of overlap that we are going to see. When it comes to broadcast media, it's going to be radio, TV, and film product placements that we are talking about. This is basically what's the one-way broadcasting that we are doing today. See, in today's evolved channels, even a lot of people can argue that WhatsApp channels can also be a kind of broadcast media. But again, that comes in an online aspect, that comes in your owned media here. So in case there's any question coming in there, WhatsApp channels, WhatsApp communication, all come under owned media because we are going to be controlling the narrative there in an online aspect. The reason why it's not.
There is a question. अगर YouTube channel के ऊपर कोई बड़ा podcaster किसी पेड तरीके से अब कोई इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट करता है, फॉर इंस्टेंस किसी बड़े पॉलिटिशियन का, तो वो किस तरीके से उसको पोजीशन करेंगे, अर्न मीडिया या पेड मीडिया?
No, so it is actually owned media because if it's your own podcast and you're inviting a speaker for that, you're again controlling the narrative there. It is on your YouTube channel. So you can always, cut the parts that you don't want to use. you can use the part that you want to use. So that will come strictly under own media. You are owning the narrative there.
And agar if we are having, suppose say a CEO on someone else's podcast, then that will be again earned media, right?
Yes, absolutely. That will be coming under earned media.
Okay, okay.
If we are the CEO and we paid the podcaster to conduct this interview,
Still to the world it will look like earned media ना. That's what we are doing with influencers. हम लोग technically most of the influencers को पैसे देके अपने brand के बारे में बोलने का बोलते हैं.
हाँ.
But it essentially comes under earned media because to the layman it will look like it is something that influencer is endorsing and we should kind of use that product.
Cool.
So yeah, moving from broadcast media to outdoor media, these are large scale public advertising displays. So it could be either digital or, on a particular billboard. So one is highway billboards that come in, then street furniture ads. Furniture usually happens in a lot of foreign countries where on the furniture there's, particular ad that's shown. If we all have seen, which TV series is that? मॉडर्न फैमिली में जैसे फिल ने भी किया था वो फर्नीचर पे दैट्स अ स्ट्रीट फर्नीचर एड the transit media campaign is what I was referring to in the previously, where when you're going from say part A to part B, you're in a particular say metro, you're in a particular car, and in that you see a particular ad that's also known as transit media. So imagine there's a flyer put in when you're, sitting in your blue smart cab, which is talking about something else other than, about blue smart, and that's known as transit media, and that's a type of outdoor media that's being shown. Moving on to print media. When we say print media, there are again three major aspects here. We have newspaper advertising, magazine spread, and direct mail. Again, these are very traditional. Very few brands use it today. Effective to an extent when it's when you want a really wide audience, but most of the brands don't kind of adopt it today. It's from a brand to brand basis, and it's very self-explanatory. Again, today, what we see a lot of brands or a lot of new age brands doing when it comes to new newspaper advertising is how do we kind of change the format, right? So earlier क्या होता था, एक print कर दिया, अच्छा message है, the copy is really good, or the visual is intriguing. But today they are trying to use olfactory senses. So जब mango season था, I think Blinkit did this thing where from your newspaper mango का smell आ रहा था. So they kind of spray a scent on your front page with their ad that kind of makes you think about mangoes and then induces you to kind of go out there and order mangoes as well. So wo hai magazine spreads is again you use magazines to communicate about your particular brand. Again, very self-explanatory. That's there. And we have your brochures and direct mail. Now, when we say ambient media, this is unconventional placement of your product to, kind of optimize consumer impact. So this is a little similar to guerrilla marketing. I would say the difference is one here. There's a lot of spend that also happens, and it is kept in a very different or an odd place. So, for example, in a golf course, वो hole के अंदर advertising होगा. So as a golf player, you'll always, go pick up the balls. And when you're picking up that particular golf ball, you're seeing something written there. Or, building के window displays पे कुछ ऐसे लिखा होगा, which will kind of intrigue you and, make you think about, what is it kind of communicating. Uh, Again, you can use digital aspects, you can use static aspects, you can use a lot of experiential, ways to kind of bring eyeballs. For example, even pizza box पे अगर कुछ लिखा होगा that you can get on a pizza box to advertise your brand. Movies में theaters में बहुत होता है कि for film promotions they will have your popcorn box printed with that particular movies advertising. I think Avengers के लिए किया था, at least in the south, in a lot of theaters. So that's ambient media. In unconventional placement, there's a particular ad. So the difference between guerrilla and this is वहाँ पे प्लेसमेंट भी अनकन्वेंशनल हो सकता है, कम्युनिकेशन भी अनकन्वेंशनल हो सकता है, तुम्हारा there would be people involved here. It is just the placement that is very unconventional. So I don't know if it's highlighting, but the keyword is unconventional placement for ambient media. Yeah. Guys, I'll just switch on the light. I think it's getting a little dark. Sorry. So all of these come under the brand awareness perspective, where you're just trying to build a larger reach with your communication. The next part is going to be direct purchase inducement. So how do we get people to purchase, or how do we get our retailers also to keep our particular or how do we ensure that our particular brand is pushed directly to the users. So brand awareness ho gaya. I had shown two objectives, brand awareness and purchase inducement. So now we are going to the second aspect, which is directly ensuring that with your promotion techniques, people are purchasing a product. So under purchase inducement, the first part is sales promotion. So sales promotion, think of it in this way, that we are incentivizing the customer. And when we say customer here, it is your retailer, it is people in the supply chain, it could be anyone in the supply chain that you're targeting, but not your final end consumer. How do we induce them to keep our particular product and to push our product to the consumer? This is usually done through increasing margins. This is the easiest way to do it. But other than increasing margins, what a lot of brands do, especially a lot of B2B brands do, is giving these retailers, giving these distributors schemes like, if you hit a particular quota, uh, you will sponsor your trip to, say, Switzerland. If, and there's a lot of interstate competition. के तुम्हारे स्टेट में तुम अगर फर्स्ट रिटेलर हो, so we'll give you a particular percentage discount, or we'll take your entire family to a particular country. Other than that, what they also have is a lot of these events that are offline, that every 6 months there's an offline distributor meet. They recognize all of these consumers. So I'll take a pause here, and in this is where Sir had also mentioned about award and reward. So what a lot of companies do is, there are two aspects to it. Award is where you're recognizing, say, the distributor or that employee or that salesperson without any monetary benefit. So that's known as award. To make certificate दे दिया, to make medal दे दिया, तुम्हें appreciate कर लिया, ये एक बड़ा email लिख दिया, which everyone is appreciated. All of that comes under awards. Reward happens when there's a monetary aspect to it. It could be as small as a 500 rupees Amazon coupon. It could be as big as an all sponsored trip for you or your family. So under sales promotion, there are two aspects to it, and this could be to your retailer, it could be to your own salesperson, to kind of give them an incentive to go and push the product. You guys understood the difference between award and reward, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Perfect. The next part to this is consumer promotion. When we say consumer promotion, this is to directly push, consumers to buy your particular product. इसमें there are four to five strategies that are used. First, basically, इसको discount करके कैसे दे सकते हैं? So discounting is the first and the easiest way that brands use. And in discounts also, the most common one is buy one, get one. Usually in the industry, it's known as BOGO offers. So buy one, get one free. The second one is where you're giving premiums, where you're giving free extra with product purchase. So what this means is, a lot of you would have seen that Lay's में या कुरकुरे में बोल दिया कि 30% extra. So you feel that you're paying 10 rupees and you're getting, instead of 100%, you're getting 130% in terms of the quantity. You feel that's a better value that you're being given here. That's what is known as premiums. Bundling is where you're giving two different products together for convenience and cost effectiveness. If you just buy, say, one product, it will cost 30. If you're buying two, it would cost, say, instead of costing 60, it would cost 45. Now, under bundling, there are two types of bundling that's taught. One is mixed bundling and one is pure bundling. Mixed bundling is where these are two different products which can be had separately, which can be consumed separately. For example, a cold drink and a burger, they can stand independent as well, but they go well together. That's known as big mixed bundling. Whereas pure bundling is where without A, B cannot exist. Uh, इसका example that sir had given is an all out and its refill, or a marker and its refill, a pen and its refill. So usually, or even तुम्हारे जो razors होते हैं, उसका bundling offer would be that if you buy independent razor, say it's 100, but if you buy and your just blade cost is 50, but if you're buying both a razor and a blade, it's going to be 120 rupees. So this is known as this is known as pure bundling. Again, bundling is a way of consumer promotion. The last one is trials and sampling, where you're giving people a sample so that they taste, and if they like it, they'll go ahead and purchase. So Eat Atlas team was doing that very effectively as a part of their drop shipping business. A lot of brands, whoever was selling food items, they gave a lot of samples, let people try it out. Even I think the Sleepco was letting people use the product, understand how it is, and then induce that to initiate a purchase. So these were the consumer promotion tactics that are there. This entire part closes the promotions overall. There's one extra bit that Sir had taught, that is publicity and PR. Now, publicity, there's a very subtle difference between both of these. Publicity is where you're organically generating, eyeballs for your brand. This could be negative or positive. So I do a particular ad campaign. It goes, if it's damn nice, people like it, there's positive PR. News articles are picking it up, social media channels are picking it up. But say, I do something that's a little culturally sensitive, it could become negative PR. For example, Titan did this where uh, it was a little culturally sensitive for Muslims, and then that they had to pull it down. And usually in these cases, a lot of these ad campaigns are pulled out pulled out in less than 24 hours. So publicity is something that you cannot control. You do a particular promotion, it's hit, well and good, positive publicity. It's not hit, it's negative publicity. When we go to PR is 100% something that's sponsored by the company. The company is paying for that particular PR in a magazine, in a news channel, in any digital aspect. There's something known as seeding there. Seeding is a very popular strategy where you have your own representatives, you have your own people that are talking about that brand, and then it snowballs from there. So influencers can come in here as well. Okay, influencers are a part of your PR, where they are the people who are seeding the activity. For example, KitKat did this campaign where people like Great Khali were trying to break the KitKat into two bits, and a lot of influencers did that. This was all seeded. We had paid money to these influencers to do it, and then it snowballed from there, where people actually tried it out. A lot of UGC came out of that, and that had a lot of brand recall. So again, if you see in this one particular statement, I showed three types of promotional strategies that happened. There was an entire PR tactic which involved influencers, which is earned media, and which then tied back to UGC, which is a promotion tactic, which ultimately had a lot of brand recall. So again, like I said, there could be combination of strategies, there could be combination of mediums when it comes to promotion. Just recognize what is the best particular way to promote that particular product or service. So all of this encompasses the entire promotions bit that Sir has taught. If there are any questions still here, please feel free to ask right now. You can take a 2-minute breather for these questions, and then we can move to pricing. Any questions, any doubts? Okay, I'm considering there's nothing there. The next part is pricing. Also, pricing is the most important P when it comes to the 7 Ps or the 4 Ps, because जब पैसे होगा तब हम बाकी 3 Ps पे काम कर सकते हैं, या बाकी 6 Ps पे we can work on. Without pricing, without the right type of pricing, there's nothing would stand there. which is why it's also Sir's favorite P. Uh, so in when I go into this, we will be learning the pricing techniques